What's going on, everybody? This blue Ford Raptor behind me was being rented on Turo for almost a year, and about a month ago I pulled it off the platform. And now today I've taken some time to analyze and figure out what exactly was I making every month with this vehicle, and was it worth it in the end? So let's get into the numbers and figure that out. Now, here's a quick look at the truck. These Raptors really stand out on the road. They've got that bold, wide stance with the flared out fender back here. The upgraded Fox suspension on these Ford Raptors is something that's easy to spot, as well as I have these copper bronze rims on mine with a color of blue that's not very common. A lot of your other Ford colors are darker, deeper blues. And so I thought those were a few things that would set this truck apart on the Turo platform and make for some interesting results. It's important that I preface this with why I had my truck on Turo and what my ultimate goal was to get out of it. The kid in me is the one who bought this truck originally. It's fun, it's fast, it's got a twin turbo, it's an off-road machine, but I was using it as my daily driver. So I was using it 90% of the time for reasons other than what I bought it for. In real estate, I was flipping houses, so I was hauling materials with it and just driving around. So I ended up going out and buying a different truck for those purposes, but my accountant was telling me that I should not sell this truck because it was a business expense that I'd already taken depreciation on. And so if I sold the truck, I would have to recapture some of those taxes that I'd already wrote off, and that Turo would maybe be a good fit for me to just pay for the truck over time. So that's what I did. And so that lets you know that really my goal was just to pay for the truck. It wasn't to like make money or cash flow over time. And so what I needed to do to cover that was $900 for the monthly payment on the truck. I needed about $75 for my personal insurance that I wanted to keep while it was being rented, and then $100 or so a month just to keep up with all the maintenance on it. So give or take, about $1,100 is where I was perfectly content making. And there was many months I made that. There's a few months I didn't. So let's get into it. What you need to keep in mind with these numbers is that I was only getting 65% of the actual revenue because I didn't want to manage all of the daily bookings and deliveries and all sorts of hassle it is dealing with the customers and the renters on Turo. And so what I did was I hired a management company, sometimes called a co-hosting company on Turo, to handle all that for me, and they charged a 35% fee in order to do that. But it allowed me to take all hands off the operation and just let them do it. I only saw this truck one time in that whole entire rental period that I had it rented out, which was, like I say, almost 12 months of renting it out. So that's pretty good that I didn't really have to even touch the truck other than having to get it registered one. But I do have some words of caution about co-hosting on Turo that I'll get into at the end, because you're probably looking forward to see what these numbers were. But that's why the truck is back with me now, because there were some things that happened that were not good. And that's just my personal experience. It could go better or worse for you if you did the same thing and hired a co-hosting. Okay, so in the first month, June of 2022, I made $934.56, which is about $170 shy of the goal. But it was the first month. I fully expected that first month to be a little bit low as we kind of ramped things up and started booking out in the future. So July came around and I made $1,233.77. And so I'm in the green, at least on my standards. So I had about $100 actually in extra cash flow that month. August rolled around and kids came back to school and stuff, right? And so I dipped very slightly to $1,118.61, still above my goal. So 2 out of 3 months I've hit my goal. September slows down just a little bit more and I dip down to $936.46. and it keeps going down from there. October 2022, $803.85. And if I'm being completely honest, I should have been monitoring a little bit more, paying attention to kind of what was going on. But as long as I was close to the $1,000, I was just letting it go. Like I said, I didn't even go look at the truck, even though it was just like 10 minutes in a warehouse away from me. And so, you know, I was starting to get a little bit worried. But November picked back up, and we must have had some, like a big long rental or something. And we made, I made $1,271.44. Now, here's where things got a little bit ugly, and I wish I could tell you why there were low months and high months, but I wasn't personally managing it, and I wasn't asking the questions that I should have been. I was really just collecting a check and depositing it. And so in December, we dropped all the way down to $373.30. And I don't know what happened there. You know, Christmas time should have been great. We should have had bookings for the holidays or something. I don't know if they had to deduct like a major expense for some type of maintenance item, because they were handling all that type of stuff for me out of their fees and everything, and then we were splitting. And so luckily, come around January, we doubled what was a low number. We got up to $780.98. But it gets exciting in February. We hit the highest month ever. So it's like weird, a really big swing from the lowest month to the highest month in a matter of 3 months. And February came out to $1,428.28 that came to me. So there was another 35% that went to the company. And then write-off also takes a bunch of fees off this and has these different insurance plans. And so that's what happened there. Now, March was the last month I received a check for my truck. It wasn't the last month it was rented though. That's where things went bad. So March, $716.55 is what I got, and the truck was continuing to be rented. But what was happening was the co-hosting company that I had hired to do this for me started ghosting people. And then come around March, they sent out an email saying, hey, payments are slightly delayed. We'll get it figured out like over the weekend or something. Well, that didn't happen. Continued no communication. It was crazy. Somebody on their client base got a hold of all the other clients' customers' emails. And so there's a bunch of us all across the nation. These people had like 4 locations on the east to west coast. And they threw everybody into an email thread. Somebody did, I don't know who did it, and started gossiping. Well, not gossip, because it was actually true information that the company was in a bad situation and that we should probably be worried about this. And so eventually it came out that you know, people started turning on them, and they decided to file bankruptcy and said, come get your vehicles. So the last month and a half, I never got a check for it. I don't know, I could tell kind of on the calendar on Turo that it was rented out quite a few days. So I was probably owed another $1,000 or something. But yeah, I never got that. And so eventually I went and picked up my truck and got it back. And now I have to decide whether that whole part was worth it, which probably not, because I was in the red quite a few months. I also don't want to personally manage it, so I've considered maybe just personally managing it, because then I can make that 35% that they were making, but it's probably not worth it for me. So that gives you an idea of, you know, what it's like renting on Turo, at least from like a passive standpoint of just trying to give it to a management company to handle. And you know, there's other things you can do to increase revenues too. I had like a Fox bike pad on my truck to put mountain bikes on, because I'm in Utah, and so the market could affect, you know, how you rent a vehicle. A truck probably wouldn't do as good in like Southern California as it would in Utah, I guess, because my truck went to like Moab, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It went on ski trips, and so it just made sense, I guess, for a lot of people. which I kind of considered, I thought it would. And so here's a graph of all those different months and how much we made, and the total I'll throw up on the screen. The total coming to $9,597 that I got from June until March, considering I got ripped off in April and May, and they didn't pay me for those rents that I was supposed to get for those months. And so nearly $10,000, which I'm not going to complain about. I'm not going to say it was good nor bad. It could have been more, it could have been less. And so with that, I thought it would just be a good case study to go through those numbers with you guys. Even though my channel is not specifically about renting and stuff, I do different things, different side hustles, you could say. And so this was a fun experiment to do. If I did it again, I'll tell you what I think would be a real killer, with getting a like 12 passenger big ski van that you could rent out for like $300 a day, because you get 7, 8, 9 people together and split $300 a day, and it comes out to like a very small amount. But then you just have one vehicle that's bringing in a large amount. And for my market in Utah, you get a lot of like bachelor parties coming in to go skiing. You can put some big old ski racks above that van. And then, yeah, I think that would be a good one. And so if I do go back to Turo and as a side hustle and trying to make money, I think that's the approach I'd take. Well, let me know if you guys have vehicles on Turo, if you do my van idea and go do that. If you have a Ford Raptor, what you made, it was probably more than me, then I'm interested to hear your experience and those numbers from you guys in the comments below. Until next time, guys, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see y'all later.